But if you don't have an off-camera mic, you may get sound coming through the body of the camera that shows up in your audio because you've got a little motor that's operating your zoom. You've got a little motor that's operating your autofocus. And you may have a little motor operate, or depending on how it's using it, if it's got an optical stabilization, there may be a motor for that. And sometimes they just seem to have some electronic hum. An off-camera mic will prevent that problem. So if that's going to be a serious issue to you, if you go shopping for a camera like this, used or otherwise, that's something to look for.
Can we take a quick
Questions? Anyone?
Can we see Cheryl's camera quickly too? Cheryl, what are you using?
Well, I use a Canon.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can see, and I got myself a new Canon 6D Mark II, but I also use the T3i. And I just love my Canon because you can put the big lens on. And when I was in Kenya with my sister, I was so happy to have a lens that went out 300 millimeters. Well, hers was 600 millimeters, and that's even better for wildlife photographs because you can just zoom in from a long distance. You know, that's my experience.
It's hard to see when you held up your camera. How many inches long is that? Hold up the lens again so we can see it. How
This
is,
one,
yeah, so when you have it sticking out,
quite a bit.
is that 7 inches? How many inches is that?
I don't know, maybe it's 10 inches. I don't know, but it's
And what is the
300 millimeter. It's
Now,
what?
Is yours a full frame sensor or a crop sensor or whatever? I mean, that's something also I should mention. When you're shopping for a camera nowadays, oftentimes it can be confusing to those, well, almost anyone.
You got to answer the question that you just.
And the thing is, when you're shopping for one, when they talk about the focal length of the lens, oftentimes they will refer to what the equivalent focal length would be if it were a full frame 35 millimeter lens, because there's several different sizes of sensors. If you had, and in the old days, one of the standards was the old 35 millimeter slide. I forgot to bring one with me. It's about this big. And so you may have a lens.
Jim, I want you to summarize because Cheryl was in mid-topic.
Okay.
She was.
Yeah.
But
So just to say about the length of her lens, if what you're particularly interested in is what power of telephoto it is, or how wide the wide angle lens is.
Thank you. So just backing up, Cheryl. So you think your lens, when you push that button, might go out 10 inches. When you push that button and extend it, what was that doing?
Oh, I don't know. Let me try it once because I didn't have it on.
And can I ask an indiscreet question?
Sure.
How much did that set you back?
Oh no, it wasn't that bad.
We
Trying
got
to think how much.
$7,000?
No,
No.
Oh, let me think. Just let me think how much this was.
buy decent used ones for a few
I
months.
think it was used for like maybe it was $800 or $900. I don't know. I can't remember specific. Or no, maybe it was maybe more than that. Maybe 1,300.
Okay, used.
can't
Because
remember.
I know I was
Yeah.
at a wedding 2 years ago and I sat next to a guy who does wedding photography on the side. And he had this special lens that he put on his camera, which was imported from Germany. It might have been called a Leica or something like that. I don't remember, but it was $7,000. So,
Oh, yes, I can tell you about that.
well, and I want to, let's open it up to I want to make sure we don't go down into the weeds too much for you guys, because we've been talking for 15 minutes and some of you might not ever want to buy one of these, but what questions do you have that people that are listening? I know people have said they might use it for wildlife, but Can anybody, Gloria, you're just turning on your camera. Do you have a question? Ask-
Just before we go there, I think Cheryl was still talking about something. I'd like to hear her.
Okay, I guess Cheryl, we're gonna have you continue, sorry, and then we'll have Gloria.
Oh, okay, what was I saying now?
You were talking about your camera and the zoom and that you were shooting wildlife with it.
Oh, yes.
You can replace the lenses if you want.
Yes, with the Canon. Yeah, there's different lens of as well as with other cameras, of course. And then what's nice about the type of camera I have, you can kind of play with the amount of light, like aperture, which is the amount of light that comes in and out of your lens, and speed, slowing down speed or capturing speed, if that makes any sense. You have a wider range as opposed to just having a cell phone to take your photographs. But it all depends on what your goals are, in photography. So
Yeah. Just for the record, you can do all that with your cell phone too. Change the speeds and the f-stop and other things as well.
oh, I didn't know that.
So
Yeah.
maybe that will be an upcoming meeting topic, David.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, and I think, Gloria, you wanted to ask something.
yeah, this is really a specific question because I just got back from Iceland. And what camera do you recommend for taking pictures of the Northern Lights?
Hmm.
The one you have with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
this is
some
what
trick,
I had with
and-
me.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
Did you get some?
I got some, but what I didn't understand was the lights were white, but they're green on any of the photos. And any of the photos you see on the internet and stuff, they're green. So why does the camera change the white Northern Lights to green?
The Northern Lights I've seen are different colors, but green is definitely among them and one of the more predominant ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
these were white, but when I photoed them and when the others photoed them too, they turn out green. Which
there's
surprised me.
something, and this is particularly true of digital cameras in certain conditions, is they will sometimes interpret colors differently because of the way, I think it's a matter partly of software and programs, and you can, even when you select the sunset or sunrise program, I've noticed, at least in certain brands of digital cameras, typically, if there's a bright glowing, say kind of a peach orange or almost pink color, it will, if it's where it's really bright, it will just turn it to a flat yellow. And part of the problem is that it's averaging, it's the way it reads the exposure and tries to interpret what to do. And your eye doesn't do that. When you're looking at a scene, your eye is actually moving around, even just at a glance, and will adjust a bit as you look. And that's maybe part of the problem, and maybe part of it is just the algorithms that they use to try to, and maybe the compression algorithms. Now, some of these cameras, and I have not tried it because I just don't want to deal with the big files and I'm not normally worried about it. Some of these cameras will shoot in what's called raw mode, RAW.
oh, let's not go
And
there.
we're not gonna get into that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't compress the files, so that may have to do it. But basically, it's partly a software issue.
Well,
You can adjust it afterwards. If you've got, even from your cell phone, but that may or may not be satisfying. The results may or may not be what you'd really like to see.
so does everyone have their cell phone with them right now?
Yeah.
Okay, grab your phone. Thank you, bring up your camera. And hold it up and take a look at something. And then focus where you're pointed on it, then touch the screen in that area. And on an iPhone, it's going to bring up exposure. It brings up a yellow box with a sun. And if it goes away, just tap your screen again where you want to focus. And then grab that sun and move it up and down, and it is going to change your exposure. It's either going to add light or remove light for your pictures. Does everyone see that?
It works on an Android too.
Yeah, it
Okay,
does.
yeah. So you're gonna literally tap the screen of what you want to take a picture of, and then next to it is gonna show up a yellow box. And then to the side of the yellow box, you could slide up or down the whole length of the screen to change if you want more or less light in that picture.
So when I was taking the pictures in Iceland, like some number came up, like 3 point something and 6 point something, but I don't know what I did to do that and what's the significance of that? Or
Your
Liz, do you
camera-
want to wait for another iPhone speech or?
No, your camera was looking at the available light and changing the automatic settings so it could get the picture, which your
Okay.
phone will do for you. And it was just telling what setting it was going to. Now, if you go
Okay.
back and look at your pictures, I know this for sure for iPhones, but when you swipe up, you can see a lot of the information of the camera settings from when you took the picture. And it'll show you the f-stop and the shutter speed. Most of that is being managed for you in automatic mode, but you have the ability to control it. So yeah.
And I did change it, but I didn't know why I didn't
The
know.
camera changed it for you because it needed more light. So it it changed your f-stop to allow more light in.
Okay.
For
And
those of you who are visiting, David, tell us, why do you know all this stuff?
Because I'm smart and good looking.
And in addition to that, what's your degree in and what kind of a business did you have for many years?
I did have a videography business, so I was heavily connected with cameras and video. Also, as a hobby, I used to shoot air shows, and I used to have 1,000 times zoom where I could take a picture of an airplane a mile away and I could tell you what color helmet the pilot was wearing. Simply because you could get that. And actually, I have a picture of a B-2 where this thing was about a mile away, but I could clearly see his helmet through the cockpit. So, and those are awesome, but by the same token, whenever you're zooming in like that or doing birds, you have to be extremely stable. And it is virtually impossible to do that without a monopod or a tripod to be able to get some of those shots. Especially if you want a moment to frame them. If you're not going to just click away, you need something to stabilize the camera. The farther out you zoom, the more stability you need, because just a little bit of shake will make your camera jump up and down.
And what's the new toy you just got, David? About something you used a couple months ago.
Oh, the drone?
Yeah, tell us
Oh,
about that.
well, that's a whole nother thing, but I've got a drone that will shoot cinematic quality video. So I haven't shot it yet. I'm hoping to take it out next weekend.
And we are located right across the street from Bayview Beach. I was down there the other day and it happens all the time, probably not so often now that it's getting colder, but it's not unusual if it's a nice day to see sometimes 2 or 3 photographers down there taking engagement photos for people. So maybe he'll take some pictures of us or take pictures of where we hang afterward when we go to Small Pies for some lunch. So
Jim, I have a question.
Yes,
Where does one find a used camera? Like you're
in the
talking
local
about,
area, you would find one, there's
online or where?
you can online, and as far as actually looking at them, which sometimes is a good idea, there's Arts Camera Plus, which is on South 76th Street, and there is Crivello's out on Blue Mound.
And they all have used cameras?
They have a limited number. Now you can also look online, eBay and other places. What I would suggest though, is takes time, but is to Google or your other, or your preferred search engine and start looking for reviews. You might look online first to see what kind of cameras are out there and what their prices are, and jot down the camera make and model number. And then you can go online and look at reviews. There's even video reviews of specific cameras. There are there are reviews that are mostly descriptive and may compare, you can actually compare two different cameras, two different make and models, and what are the pros and cons between them.
I'm gonna just jump in here. There's a better way, Gail. Find a mentor. Find somebody who knows something about photography, who takes pictures that you like. And it probably could be someone in this group. It could very well be Jim. But if you spend a little time with Jim before you buy anything, or me or other people too, you're gonna find that you won't throw your money away. We can help you find what we think are good deals and could start you off on your journey to give you enough information to make informed decisions at the beginning. And we would be happy to. And everything that Jim said was true. But if you find a mentor to help you start, it will be easier. Grace is trying to get up.
Okay, thank
and
you
you
for
guys-
that.
Just so you notice on the right-hand side, I did turn on, and I forgot to turn this on in the beginning. Lots of things I enabled on David's account since we used it last. There's a timer which you can see showing up in the corner in a box and also in the SpeakTV host box. And then we're recording this. We didn't start right away, but then I also turned on AI companion, and I just switched over recently to the topics discussed, but you can see how it's doing a pretty good job of succinctly talking about what we've covered. And if you have a meeting somewhere else, this is something you can turn on. David, something I would like to know about for an upcoming meeting, and we probably can't do it here, but I have an HDMI cable attached to the TV in the dining room where I live. So you're seeing my entire screen, but I'm just wondering if I were facilitating somewhere else and it weren't at a Toastmaster meeting and I didn't want everybody to see what I'm doing behind the scenes, like I don't want them to see the AI stuff. Would I have to have another screen, or how would I work around that?
You could, there's probably a number of ways, but we'd have to go into details.
Okay, we won't do that right now.
By the way, I would like you to raise your hand or somehow denote if, like, I noticed Jim used a number of technical terms, which I would not expect you to know. Feel free to stop and ask, what does that mean?
Mhm.
Just because if you don't stop and ask, then you may never know.
Yeah,
So you could, and if you don't want to interrupt them, just raise your hand or something using the raise your hand box, but feel free to ask if we start getting into the weeds on technical terms. So we want everyone to be able to follow along with what we're doing, or at least be able to form the concept.
right.
And do you have any questions about pros and cons about, advantages or disadvantages of using a dual function camera, shall we say, as opposed to that's not a cell phone? Please don't hesitate to ask that.
I mean, the disadvantage I see is I load pictures all the time to my Facebook page and I don't see you loading them because I think it's too much work.
That's part of it. And part of it is just that I've got some more password things to resolve to get my Facebook account going again. Not my Facebook account, my YouTube account. And sometimes when I try to upload just digital still photos to it, sometimes it won't turn them the right way. It insists on turning them 90 degrees from what I wanted to, no matter which way I shot them. So I get that.
Well, and I think you bring up an important point. Photography is more than just taking pictures.
Yep.
Until you get to be able to display them, they're just going to be stuck on your phone. You may need to upload them, and there's some very cool tricks for editing stuff where you can take someone in the foreground and put them on a completely different background, and you can do this all on your phone very easily. So that was something is that something people are interested in? Is that something we should spend time on in the future?
Yeah,
I think so. I struggle with AirDrop.
All right. So what would really be cool if we could do this all in person on a workshop? We could do it remotely too, but it's a little bit different because then we can't look over your shoulder. But yeah, that's something we'll work on the schedule. We've had another member who was interested in doing more with podcasting. And David, for your kayaking adventures, I don't know if you know, but there are drones that you can get that will follow you. So you can get aerial views of your kayaking. Do you do that now?
No, I don't, but I am I am learning to, well, I'm taking the test right now, to learn how to fly drones. Doing not the what is the 107?
Part 107?
Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but the one below that, just
You
intermediate. Huh?
You don't need to fly a drone that's under 255 grams.
Yeah. Well, it's just where I thought I'd start,
Okay.
So yeah, I do a lot of kayaking and I'm learning to use a GoPro. And I'm having issues with that because it doesn't last as long. The battery doesn't last as long as say some other people, because it gets hot, and I haven't figured that out. It'll just stop when it's out in the sun. If it gets too hot, it'll just, it'll automatically shut off. I'm learning to use the GoPro. Also I carried my camera around. I found, I was messing around with it and I found a bunch of effects, but I haven't, I was out on one trip and I was playing around with the effects on I have a Pixel, and I was playing around with the effects and I haven't found those since. I don't know if I bought a new phone, but it was pretty cool. The effects of the pictures, you know what I mean? And I took some really cool pictures. And I don't know, I was sitting here looking through my camera, and yeah, I don't know where they went. But anyway, yes. So my question was, these bigger cameras, are they more waterproof now, or is there some that are waterproof?
Might be water resistant. You can get waterproof cameras.
I'm not talking about dropping in the water or anything like that, but
it's something that you have to check on individual models and makes. There are some that are designed specifically for that, or at least there used to be. And there also used to be housings that you could get, or covers that would go over them.
Right.
Protect them, but
so they have dry bags that you could put cameras in and actually.
Yeah, I have dry. Oh, specifically for cameras.
Yeah. Now, if you're into scuba diving, that opens up a whole other thing.
Oh, yeah.
And right with your wallet, because those are going to get very pricey.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are waterproof cameras, and you can even get inexpensive disposable cameras.
Yeah, I've done that too.
But yeah, I know at least a few years.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get better, with my photography.
Are you talking mainly for a waterproof camera? Are you talking still or video, or both?
Either one.
Because years ago, and you may still be able to find them used. I don't know if they're currently in production, but they did make waterproof digital cameras. But
yeah, go on the internet, do a search. And so
Okay.
back to Gail's question, how do I find one? I'm going to share my screen with you right now, just real quick. Oh, Liz.
Yes,
Can you enable screen sharing for me real quick?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you. And I just want to show you this. Just want to show you this. Thank you. So can you all see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay. I'm using, do you see the web browser I'm using?
Yeah,
go.
Right?
I use that
This is
too.
why I use it. Do you see how many people have been trying to track me while I'm on the internet?
Yeah.
29 for DuckDuckGo.
Well, they haven't been successful. It's blocked 16,041 tracking attempts.
Wow.
DuckDuckGo as a browser reduces your internet footprint so people can't see you. How many times have you ever been online and all of a sudden there's an ad for something you were talking about or looking at
Yep.
because you were being tracked? So I still have Google Chrome and I still use Safari on my Mac stuff, but I use DuckDuckGo as my primary search engine just to reduce my footprint and to keep other people out of my business. And
Do we get that in the apps?
you can download it off the internet, just like you could download Google Chrome.
Okay.
In your app store.
In your app store, okay.
App Store. And there's nothing wrong with Google Chrome and I like it, but it's Google and the Google search engines are biased for Google customers. And if you are looking for a hardware store and one has a Google ad and one doesn't, you may never know about the other hardware store. In fact, I ran into that when I was looking for a haircut. They wouldn't show any Great Clips locations for haircuts. They showed everything but because they didn't advertise on Google. So that has to do with the browser, and I just wanted to share that as a little tech tip. And that's all I had on it.
David, do you remember what the password is here? Is it 1-1?
I don't remember.
Okay, all right.
Did you?
I just want to,
I had a-
I think we want to terminate this part of the meeting. This was very informative. Thank you, everyone. I want to weigh in with the room and see how you're feeling, but it's almost 1 hour in and we only have 1 hour left. We have Grace who has a speech to give. Other things we can do when we can keep talking about this, but I want to let you know what the other options are and we'll see what you guys want to talk about. Cause I don't want to go deep into the weeds if this isn't of interest to everyone, or maybe you can only do so much at a time. You need to research, check a camera, things like that. But Grace has a speech to give. I recently bought Prez's the world champion of public speaking. He won 20 years ago and I bought his webinar with all of his courses. I have every single one in their video format, and there's one on how to find a topic, and that's 19 minutes long. We could watch that. We also have Funtivity. We are going to be having Friday night fun nights. Our first one is the first Friday in October, which I think is the 6th. And we will be doing that as well as in conjunction with Speakeasy. And we will be running table topics. We can do other breakout rooms, but we do have, as part of David's subscription, Funtivity. Up to 10 people can play. I don't know if the 11 will show, whoever picks it last maybe doesn't get it, or if we have more than 10 people on the Zoom room, maybe it doesn't work at all. We could upgrade and have it work for up to 50 people for $99. I did send a message out to the district leadership because I know we have some dollars for things that we've done between the two clubs to see if we have enough to buy it, but I can see this as a way of connecting with lots of Toastmasters. Toastmasters has a newsletter that's just going to start coming out on a quarterly basis. It's called The Edge. We submitted 3 articles. One was on Tom Carlson and his 45 years in Toastmasters. We actually filmed a video. Darlene Carlson, who's not here right now, she did it. I was on too, but I had my camera turned up, but we used the SpeakTV link to do it. And then there was Tom, but it was very good at going back and forth. And we sent the video over, and then we also there's something called Yodely, and that's a Toastmaster benefit, and I can show you about that. But we basically took the video, we uploaded it as an MP4 file, which is the sound plus the pictures, and then Yodely is smart enough where it can give us a transcript of everything. And then we took that transcript and I sent it off to ChatGPT and I had it write an article for us. And I know Darlene was originally thinking about writing an article and she had all kinds of stuff coming up and she didn't have time. She's got a writing degree, by the way, but usually when she writes, she doesn't want to have to write like in 5 seconds. So we just turned in what ChatGPT did. And so you will, and that's supposed to come out October 1st, but we will be advertising there. And I also know a lot of Toastmasters, just because I was in leadership last year. So we'll see if we pick up some people. And then there's another place called Toastmasters Meeting Online. It's a Facebook group with a couple thousand people in it. And it was a big deal before the pandemic because not that many clubs were meeting online. And a lot now, 60% of all clubs, since we've kind of normalized things, are meeting both online and hybrid like we are. 20% are just online and the other 20% are only in person. But if we open it up there, or just to the district, if we get 11 people, we can't accommodate everybody. So it's $99. But I'd like to have us try that to see, because that's one of the things we might be doing in the breakout rooms. There's icebreakers, there's an escape room. So I don't know if you guys want to try that or not. We have Prez's video, and also in 3 months, in January, it's speech contest time. So there's the international speech contest. Grace Ann and Cheryl and DT, I don't know if you know this, but we were the only club in the whole district to have people competing in both contests last year. That was both the speech contest, international speech contest, as well as the tall tales. This year, we always do the international speech contest, and the specialty contest this year is the speaker evaluation. So you know how we kind of just whip out evaluations, but that's actually a contest. And I wanted to show you guys some things about how you can prepare for that if you're interested. So just by show of hands, either put your hand up if you're on screen, or if you know how to raise your hand on your screen to vote. How many of you, and Grace, we're going to have you go next so we get your speech out of the way if you need to go, but how many of you would like to learn how to do the games, the Funtivity games, to see how that works? Okay, so I see. Okay, Cyrus, do you want to do the games? Okay, so everybody in our room here. Okay, so looks like, okay, so we'll have Grace go, and then we'll do that. We'll see how that goes, and we can always talk about some of the other things or watch Prez later. So Grace, are you there? Grace Ann?
I am.
Okay, so we want to have you be evaluated, and we were going to have Darlene evaluate you, but she works with veterans and she's at some kind of a memorial service today. I want somebody to give her an official evaluation because she's doing, did you decide, are you going to do a level 2 or a level 1 speech? Did you decide on that?
Yeah, it's actually going to be a level 1.
Okay, that's fine. And then who would like to be her official evaluator? That's a 2 to 3 minute speech. Who wants to do that? And we'll do popcorn feedback afterward. Gloria, are you there? Gloria, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. You got to give me a second to unmute myself.
Do you want to do it? You're a pretty good evaluator. Do you want to do it?
Sure.
Okay, so Gloria will be your evaluator. And then I know, by the way, just so you guys know this, and some of you might have logged in at the last minute, but life happens, and Grace Ann had some things happen to her. And so she didn't have a speech ready. And I said, you know what? See if you can come up with one before the meeting's over with. So tell us your backstory. Before you start, how did you come up with one? Did you use ChatGPT or what did you do?
Yeah, so I originally did go to ChatGPT, and I was starting to read some of the things that came up with, and I just didn't feel good about presenting something to you guys like that I didn't even come up with. That's just not me. So, and I also realized that this is an IT meeting. So I actually took something that I recently learned for my professional presence and my presentation skills for work, and that's how to use PowerPoint in an efficient and interesting way. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that today.
So kudos, before you start, kudos for reading the audience and figuring out what we need. So that will be helpful to all of us. And just so you know, this does not have to be a level 1. You have to find another path to do that. But this could be a level 3 project for you. There are several level 3s you could count it as. One is using presentation software, which
Liz.
and the other one is using visual aids. So I would encourage you to put this in level 3. That way you're still working towards your goal. And just so you guys know, I'm the VP of Education. You can skip ahead in projects in Pathways. That's allowed, but you can't claim credit for it until she would have to finish all the level 3. And then to claim credit for level 3, she'd have to do the level 2. But this way you can go and log it after you're done, because if you're like me, you'll forget. But is it okay if we just have you keep working on the same path? Because once you finish level 1, level 2, and level 3, you have the option when you sign up. And by the way, Grace, I signed up for her on Thursday night. She joined 2 months ago, and she's completed a level 1 in 2 months. That's 4 speeches and an evaluation. So she is really cranking. She zoomed up to Montreal, Canada. She's been to 4 different clubs. So I can make that happen for any of you if you are that ambitious. But yeah, so we'll figure that part out later, but we'll have this be a level 3 speech. So Gloria, up the ante, because she's at level 3 already. Okay.
I apologize. I do have to leave. I got to get ready for an appointment.
Well, we won't hold it against you this time.
Okay, thank you.
No, but thank you for joining us, David. It's good to
Yes.
see you again.
And good luck recovering from your shingles vaccine.
Yeah, thanks. I feel a lot better today.
Good,
I gotta do that.
good. I think Grace is, I enabled screen sharing. So do you need to screen share? Is that ready to go for you?
Yes,
Okay.
if I could screen share, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, and I think that's right. So Grace recently joined SpeakTV, which is a sister club with us. And you have, is it a master's
Easy.
in healthcare or an MBA?
Yes.
Okay, and you're a tech, Gloria, you're a chemist, and I was looking at your LinkedIn the other day when I was harvesting your photo. You have a background in chemistry or science too, don't you?
Yes, I had a minor in chemistry and it got me all my jobs in business.
Okay, and Grace, did you study science as an undergrad too?
Yeah, I studied biology actually.
Okay, that's what it was. So you have a technical background in your detailing. So good. Well, but thank you for reading the audience and figuring out what we need. And this presentation is being recorded. Are you okay being recorded, or do you want me to turn it off?
Yep, I want it to be recorded. Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll figure out on the footage how to send you your portion of it or the whole thing.
Why don't you just stop and start it again? That way it splices it and we can just do her speech.
Okay, so I'm being told to stop and start it again.
The timer and the screen. Any
I'm
more
gonna press-
ears?
I'm gonna press start. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, yep, I'm ready to go.
And just so I know for recording, do you want me to make you the, should I make this, I don't know,
She could already share if she needs to.
but for recording purposes, I want her to be just as a speaker, right? So we don't see everybody else, or do you want to see the reaction of the room, or do you want to just have your face up there? What are you gonna do with this video?
I would say I guess I would like to see my presentation. So
Okay.
yeah, if you could highlight me, that would be good.
By
Okay,
the way, you look excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
okay, so and at this time, ladies and gentlemen, let's please give Grace Ann a warm Speak Easy and Speak TV welcome as she takes the digital podium to talk about PowerPoint. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. I wanted to bring something that was useful to all of you and even to myself that I can practice in my own presentation skills. I recently had the pleasure of being able to present in any way I would like to my business colleagues in my professional career. And I actually found a very positive reaction to the creativity that I had presented to them. And it just enhanced my overall presentation. So I thought I would bring this to you as a useful tool that you can consider in your presentation skills. As we all know, storytelling is very important and connects you to your audience. So I will show you how you can do that. And I'm going to share my screen here. And this is an example of what we may typically do for PowerPoint and the tendency to put up a photo in an attempt to grab people's attention and maybe a fun title, and then, get a little bit of transition in there and have something kind of interesting. But I want to show you an alternative for PowerPoint that I think is even more effective and takes just as much time or as little time as this did for me. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. So as an alternative, this is how your presentation can be looking. And it doesn't take that many steps. It's really very simple in these 7 steps, I quickly transformed just this initial instigation of this presentation into a completely different level of presentation. And I want to just actually show you how I did it and walk you through this. And I'm going to bring my PowerPoint up, and we're quickly just going to make a new slide. So what you can do is the first step to create the new image is you're going to go to Insert and go to 3D Models and Stock Images. And there's hundreds, maybe thousands of what you can pick. But I just picked the sun since it's a ball and it's very simple. Liz, I'm sorry, did you say I only had 3 minutes to
Take
this
as long as you
presentation?
want. Speakers always have the right to have extra time. And this is interesting to us, so take as long as you want.
Okay, I apologize. I thought that the standard was 6 minutes. So that's kind of what I set it for. Otherwise, I don't have to walk through this actually. We can just technically pause my presentation, and then if you guys would like, I can continue walking through it after my presentation. But essentially, that was the goal of my presentation, just to show you quickly how you can transform the intro of your presentation and the rest of your presentation into something completely different. So would you like me to walk through the steps and continue through my presentation, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
walk through the steps.
Okay. So I'm going to insert this sun and make it as big as I want. Put it here. And then I'm going to put in the text. Let's see, text box. And even sometimes I forget where the boxes are up here. You have to look through them sometimes. And I'm going to put one in the sun, same as I did last time. With a typo in there. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm not sure why my my arrow is like disappearing for some reason. I'm not sure if you guys have this problem as well. I wasn't having this issue earlier. Where is my mouse actually?
That was mine, sorry.
Okay, here we go. Now it came back. I'm not sure what happened there. So I'm going to lengthen this, and I'm just going to pick whatever font I would like. Maybe it's this one. And I'm going to copy and paste it. And I'm going to go to, sorry, not shape format. I'm going to right click and go to format shape. And all these steps I wrote down. And if you would like, I can absolutely send these to you. You're going to do text options, no fill, solid line. Why is it not? Oh, I didn't highlight it. My bad. No fill, solid line. And I'm gonna copy and paste it again. For some reason, there's a background. All these steps, all of that extra step there, I apologize. That was me being confusing. Send backward. Or you can leave it in front too, it doesn't matter. And then I'm gonna press Control and then click all of these selections. And then I'm gonna do align center. And align middle. And then I'm going to come over here and copy and paste this into a new slide. And then, oh, sorry, I did that a little bit too early. I am so sorry to confuse you. Okay, I'm going to duplicate the slide before I align these. Now I'm going to select all of them and align in the middle. There we go. And then if you want, you can pick a fun background, but background color if you want, but that's not necessary. But I will show you how to do that in case if you would like to do that. So I chose the gradient option. So I pressed gradient and then I selected these colors, but you can select whatever color you would like, whether it's yellow, or you can pick blue and whatever color you would like. And then I'm going to send that to back. So that way you can see my text. And then I'm going to copy and paste that background and send back. And then finally, the last and fun step, you're going to go to transitions and you're going to press morph. And then you can see how that turns into the fun text. Let's see, let's look at our result here. And then you have it. So I apologize that I might have made that a little bit more confusing than it needed to be. Just accidentally pressing the wrong button. So, but otherwise it's very simple steps. You just create the image, you pick your colors and your fonts that you would typically do. Then you just align all of the text, duplicate the slide, and then you just morph them together. And the transition slide for the morph is really what creates that illusion that transitions one slide to the next. So
Could you post the steps again?
yeah, I will. Would you like me to put it back on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
And would you be able to share that handout in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Document, that'd be great.
You know what we can also do, you guys, is we can take her speech and I can take her portion of it and put it in Yodlee and it will transcribe all of it. And then we can ask ChatGPT to summarize it. And I'm just asking AI right now, because that's running in the background too. This is just saying, it's just saying how to use PowerPoint for effective transitions. It's just summarizing. It's not giving me, let's see. So it has that, it has was my name. Action items. No, it just added to the list PowerPoints. It's not saying anything else, but we can also do this with software. So great. So thank you so much, Grace. Are there any questions for Grace? Otherwise, we are going to go to the evaluation portion, but any quick questions? And let me switch this over to gallery. Oh, I think I have to. If you have a question, can you put your hand up, your digital hand, because I can't see hands right now. Oh, I'll go to gallery. Now I can see. Anybody have any questions? Okay, barring any questions. Did you have one, Gail?
No, I'm all right.
Okay, so barring questions, Gloria, you're going to give an evaluation, but we will give you 1 minute. So I'm gonna set the timer for 1 minute. And while she's doing that, everyone else think about what she said, because we'll do popcorn feedback after that.
I'm ready to give it
You're ready?
back if you don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah,
then do
we don't-
you want her screen sharing up, or do you want the screen sharing stopped while you give your evaluation?
Screen share stop, please.
Oh, my bad. Um, I'm not sure why it's, oh, there it is.
Okay, great. So we're back. Okay. And Gloria, I'm assuming you don't like being highlighted, so just leave you in gallery mode. Is that right?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. The floor is yours.
Grace Ann, I admire your bravery and your ability to put together something impromptu, which is something that I lack doing. How to use PowerPoint is important to me. You are very clear in your speaking. You have a very pleasant demeanor. Your pace was well. You showed us step by step, and I would suggest that you don't have to apologize when something goes wrong. That's my take on it. Just keep going. You had good eye contact with the camera part of the time, but some of the other time, I don't know if you were looking individually at each person's face or not. So you warm, personable demeanor. You did know what you were doing. And I think your company is blessed to have you and your knowledge available to them. There were a couple suggestions for improvement besides the eyes. There was some knows and gonnas, but I think for just putting you on the spot, and I don't know how many people know that you've been a Toastmaster for a total of 2 months. So for a 2-month-old, even for a 2-year-old, you did a really great job in giving us education. And I want to learn how to do PowerPoint better. So if you have a suggestion on where to go for this, let me know. Thank you, Grace Ann, for your instruction.
Thank you for that, Gloria. And now at this time, if you either want to raise your hand if your camera's on, or if you would like to put up your virtual hand, we will open it up for group popcorn feedback on Grace Ann's presentation. Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Okay, and can you identify yourself? So
Nancy Gregory. You do a lot of ums. I do too, but I try to catch myself when I'm speaking so that I do as many of them. Sometimes when you pause instead of saying it gives you a little bit more time to think of the next word that you want to say. So I'd like you to try to do that, because that's how I catch myself. I liked your presentation when you did the one. I liked the globe in the first one because it seemed to be turning and getting bigger from the bottom up. I like that. So I was sitting here and wondering, how did you get that to happen? Because it didn't happen the second time. So I know there had to be some little tweaking that needed to be done, but I didn't understand what that might be. Overall, I think it was really great and informative. So good job.
Thank you. Who's next?
And you're absolutely right. I didn't even catch that. I did forget that step. But that is actually the easiest and most fun step of all. And if you'd like me, I can screen share, but you just have to go to the second slide, and then in the center, there's a little image that says, it's a little image that has a bunch of arrows. All you have to do is click and drag it. Not sure if that imagery helps you, but
Why don't you
yeah.
quickly show us?
Okay. So when you have the slides up, you have the first slide and the second slide. All you have to do is click on this little image and then drag it to whatever direction you would like. And then it will do that.
So that sets up the automation, the movement.
Yes, that like automatically creates the movement.
Okay.
And then you can do that like I did with the rolling ball. You can duplicate it and then let's move it over here and then move it. Then you can create that same effect that I did and moving the ball over to the corner, just like that. Does that make sense?
Looks good. Thank you for sharing that. Who's next?
Yeah.
I have another comment,
Go ahead, Gloria.
if that's okay. You didn't let the fact that you lost the mouse icon rattle you. You kept going, you found it, and I thought that's very good. And especially for somebody who really doesn't do PowerPoint, the fact that maybe you had to go back and do something again, even though expert, was very helpful for me because I would make lots of mistakes. So thank you.
Thank you. Cyrus, did you want to say something? Okay. And by the way, Cyrus is only, I don't know if you met him, but he's only 17 years old. Technically, he's not old enough to be here because you have to be 18.
Say, oh,
But, well, he's really good at tech. Last time he showed us a video. Tell us what you were making. What you showed.
It's a stop motion animation that I've been working on for.
Can you hear him? Talk a little louder, Cyrus.
Yeah, last week I presented a stop motion animation.
I can't see your head.
I'm working on a stop motion animation video for like the past month now that I realize it. That's been done just using simple techniques, using Lego figures.
and it was awesome. I was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
impressed with it.
It's still work in progress. I'm getting closer and closer to being done with it as we speak,
And you were shooting with your cell phone?
purely with my cell phone.
Okay, so you don't have to go out and buy expensive stuff to do some of these very interesting and creative things.
So Lego itself has gotten quite expensive
Yeah.
throughout the past
Ah.
20-ish years.
And he got credit, just like you, Grace. He got credit. He gave us first speech. We can't give him credit. Your birthday is, when is your birthday?
January 12th.
And his mom, who's in the back, who just said something, his grandmother,
She looks like it.
yeah, and his grandfather had a health issue, so he's here, not here today, but because he has an adult here, that's why he's able to do this. But once he turns 18, we're letting him give these speeches and then he can legally log them and join. But just like you did, you were showing a how-to, that counts. And I and Grace and I, we went to the National Speakers Association Academy. And we have to give 20 presentations and get paid, even if it's like $1 to graduate. And someone asked for clarification. Does it have to be just a speech or can it be something interactive like this? And what you guys did would count. So, and that counts for Pathway project too. So you seem to have a lot of tech skills. So thank you for that. Any other comments? Otherwise, I have one.
I would like to just interject something real quick here, Liz.
Sure.
And that is that if you have children or grandchildren that this may interest, please invite them to our meetings. Or maybe it's a neighbor or whatever. I'm not so much concerned about age groups, but if we can feed someone's interest and get them to enjoy what we're doing and to help maybe determine their future by feeding their interests, I'm way all for that. So if you have any friends, colleagues, please invite them. And it's okay if they're kids too.
But yeah.
And if it turns out to be a problem, we'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah, and we do try to keep it clean and things, so it's a safe environment to bring minors. Grace, I wanted to commend you again on putting together a speech on the fly, being vulnerable and showing the creation in front of us. And vulnerability connects you to the audience and it creates trust. It also makes me feel like I could do it, because if I see you forget a step, it's like, oh, well, if she forgot a step, then it's not like she's way up there and I can never catch up to her. But the other thing I wanted to suggest to you as the VP of Education, maybe just submit this as using visual aids. And one thing I was playing with today and I didn't get a chance to finish it, and I don't know if it can even work, but there's a program called Plus, and then there's a space AI, and it's a Google, it's, if you go into Google Docs, it's an extension you add on. But what I would like you to do, because that has AI with their Google Docs, and there's also another program which I own called Beautiful.ai. But I'm interested in seeing how AI how much of a slideshow it can create for us. And that might be something you want to do. There's also an AI program called Scribe, like writing. And I haven't done it yet, but if you enable that as you're going along and doing something procedurally, it will kind of like capture the different steps so we can watch that later on. But since you seem to have an interest in this, that if that interests you, if it's not too complicated and you do have a tech background, you're good at details, that would be another level 3 that you could maybe bang out pretty quickly. And then you just have one more level 3 and that would be done. And then you'd have 3 level 2s and you would have you'd have them all done. And then your employer is going to get a certificate saying that you did this. So if it interests you, I know you have other things to do, but keep that in mind. But well done, and thank you for zooming in. And I don't know if you need to go, or because I know it's Saturday, but thank you for. And tell us where you're zooming in from.
Dubuque, Iowa.
Oh,
So yeah.
yeah.
Where's everyone else from?
Waukesha,
Waukesha is a suburb.
Johnson.
Yeah, we're all in the Metro Milwaukee area, except Tom Carlson, who's not here today. He's from Janesville, which is kind of like southwest. I think it's closer to Iowa, actually, isn't it? But it's southern.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you need to go, that's fine. But thank you for coming. And go ahead, call me if you need help. But I think you can just go ahead and check this one off if you want, as using visual aids. It's one of the electives. And then there's another one like using presentation software, and we can, you could interchange the two of them. But if that interests you, let me know, and we'll schedule you for another time.
Yeah.
We get there. Okay.
Yeah, I would be interested in that for sure. So thank you for everyone's time. If no one else has any other last comments or tips for me, then yeah, I think I'll head out here.
Quick question. You live in Dubuque? Do you live in Dubuque?
Yes.
All right. How far is that from Prairie du Chien? So like 56 miles?
I think it's still, I honestly haven't been to Prairie du Chien recently, honestly.
Okay. I'm going to suggest that you go in the winter, and maybe you don't have to go far, but they have a lot of American eagles there, and they tend to fish in the Mississippi River, and in the winter they're all over the place. And it's just very cool, and it's not too far from you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Jim, did you want to say something?
A quick thing on techniques and whatnot. I'd add compliments to others about staying calm and whatnot, and this was a great presentation to cover technical kinds of things. Something that you can think of experimenting with if you want to do other kinds of speeches for totally different purposes would be to start eventually experimenting with varying interpacing your voice, pitch and volume and gestures. But but for this kind of presentation, this worked very well. And again, my compliments for staying calm even when there were things not going right. You still just dealt with it. Didn't seem to phase you, and it didn't show in your speech.
And just as an afterthought, I've sat through a lot of presentations and a lot of meetings, and you're easily in the top 90 percentile, just because of your professionalism and how well you do, especially under pressure when things don't go right. That's the hallmark of a good speaker, is to not get flustered and just go with it, not apologize, so. I thought that was excellent and you're awesome. I don't care what anybody says.
I appreciate all of your feedback and encouragement. I do. I'm not a confident speaker, so I definitely need those feedback and positive confirmation sometimes. So thank you.
We would never know that by watching you do your thing. Awesome. So, and yeah, just fake it until you make it, but I think you've made it, so yeehaw.
And the internal confidence will come from just doing rep after rep after rep. That comes from competence, and that comes from just showing up and doing it. And I can continue to, I don't know if your schedule has changed, but I can zoom you around as much or as little as you like. Just let me know. I just need a couple days notice to get to time. But thank you for coming tonight or this morning. Go and enjoy the rest of your day in Dubuque.
One more question.
Yeah.
How do you think you did?
How do I think I did?
Yeah.
I actually, it sounds like you all didn't mind me messing up or accidentally adding in other steps and things like that. But I personally found those to be very confusing. Even like if I were in your position, I would find that to be very confusing. So I was very disappointed in myself for adding extra steps. The mouse so much disappearing, I can predict that, or technology glitches happen. I did say a lot. I do have that as my go-to, and I've been trying to work on, instead of saying just pausing. I think I did that more than I have in the past, but it still wasn't quite where I would like it to be. So I didn't think I did that great, but I thought I showed interesting enough material that it made up for my personal lack of speaking skills.
Yeah, you still didn't answer my question. You told me all the things that were wrong. You told me all of your failures, but you didn't give yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How did you do?
Can you tell he's got a coaching background?
I would say a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I
How
can
many
tell.
here think that it was a 10 out of 10? How many think 9 out of 10? How many think 8 out of 10? 7 out of 10? 6 out of 10? 5 out of 10? Okay, so you're the hardest one right now grading you. We all thought you did better than you yourself did, and that was the point of that little exercise, is that you're better than you think you are. But you're the only one who knows all the mistakes. And if you don't let on that they're mistakes, we may never catch up. And it's not your job to let us know when you made a mistake. So don't worry about it. I think you did a great job. And I'm at least 8 to 8.5, in my opinion. So
And for
take that with you.
Yeah.
And just know that you will be your own toughest critic, but cut yourself some slack because you're pretty awesome.
Yep.
So thank you, everybody. Let's give her a hand. And now, everybody in the room, Cyrus, I don't know if you're able to log in, otherwise look with your ground button. But we are gonna try the Funtivity. So I'm gonna, just you can watch me, I'm going down here to apps. And
Let's stop the recording.
okay, we're gonna stop the recording.